Hello everybody, Mrs. Fry here. So I just wanted to make a little video to discuss recommendation letters for next year because, well, first off, normally I would be talking about this in class, but since we aren't together, I thought this was a good way to get the information to you. And the other thing is, as a junior, you are getting ready to think about graduating and moving on next year. So there's just a couple of things I want to tell you about, and then you'll know kind of what my expectations are if you're going to ask, and more importantly, what you want to think about before you ask any teacher to write you a letter of recommendation. Okay. The first comment I just want to make is very brief, which is that I want you to keep in mind that what you're asking is something that's not required of my job. It's definitely a whole extra thing. So just keep in mind that, every person that asks me is one more full page letter that I write because I really take time to think about those. So just keep in mind that that's definitely something that's extra. So before you ask, the most important thing to remember about whether or not you should ask me is that your grade in my class is not the main factor. Okay, so if you have an A in my class, that does not mean you have to ask me to write you a letter. And if you aren't getting an A, let's say you're getting a B or even a C, you could still absolutely ask me to write you a letter. Here are the things that matter, because in the letter, I don't talk about your grade, not a lot. What I talk about are things that have to do with your character, all right, who you are as a person. So if you're thinking about asking, here's what might happen if might be the reasons for me saying no, okay? So I might say no. I won't want to, but I might say no if you complain about learning math frequently or, just in general. If you're on your phone all the time, because I'll write about that, right? You want to think about what kind of letter I'm going to write for you. If you only care about your grade, because especially right now in this e-learning experience, it's not about your grade. It's way more important to think about the learning and the math. If you don't work so well with others, because these are things that I talk about. These are things that colleges care about. They want you to be somebody who works well with others. So what instead, on a far more positive note, would be some reasons I would say yes. Well, are you the kind of student that's regularly engaged in class and paying attention and asking great questions? Are you hardworking? Especially now, I can really see who's working hard, who's coming to hangouts and things like that. Do you work well with others? Especially from a math perspective, are you inquisitive? Are you curious? Do you wonder how things work or why that happens in math the way that it does, or whatever the case may be? So, think about those things. Those are some reasons why I'd probably say yes. On a bigger scale, perhaps. So if you want to see that comparison, you can think about kind of the characteristics of a person I would write a letter for versus maybe not so much. More importantly, think hard about what kind of student you are in my class every day. I mean, who have I seen before we left for e-learning? Who did I see? And who am I seeing now? Because guess what? I'm going to use this information also. This could be a great opportunity for me to write about, or it could be something that means you want me to avoid being the person you write your letter about. I'm going to write you a letter for you that reflects the entire year, everything that's happened. So you really want to think about who I've seen. All right. What type of student have I observed in my classroom? Okay. And the last thing I want to say is just put some thought into it. In general, put some thought into who you want to ask to be the people who write you a letter of rec. Ask individually via email, or you can talk to me one-on-one in a chat about it if you'd like. If you do ask me, I will ask that in response that you let me know when you think you might be applying. And more importantly, some other information about you, like maybe clubs or sports or athletic things or activities you do in or outside of the high school, so that I can get just an additional picture of you to write about in your letter. I will tell you that I definitely think that if I've had you more than once, like if you were in my AAA class also, I think that would be a really great opportunity because I'm the kind of person who's seen you for multiple high school years, but that isn't a requirement. You don't have to ask me just because you had me for more than 1 year. If this is the only year we've had together, you can certainly still ask me. Just think about, who knows you best as a teacher, and those are the types of teachers that I think you want to ask to write you a letter. I am happy to write a letter. I will tell you the sooner the better, because eventually I'm going to have to limit that list to a certain number of people, because I can only write so many letters in one summer to get ready for the fall. So the sooner you ask me, the better. All right. I hope you all are having a really great day, and I will see you again soon. Okay. Bye.